Wow.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Covington City Council meeting for Tuesday, May 27th. In compliance with state law, City Council special and regular meetings are held in a hybrid format with in-person, telephonic, and virtual options for public viewing and participation. With that, we'll call this meeting to order. And Chris, if you could please call the roll.
Councilmember Soltis.
I am here.
Councilmember Porter.
Here.
Councilmember Hartsock. Councilmember Harjahausen.
I am present.
Councilmember Simoma.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
And Mayor Wagner.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Council would please excuse Councilmember Hartsock.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to excuse Councilmember Hartsock. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Hartsock has been excused. And just for everybody, Councilmember Jennifer Hartshausen is joining us virtually tonight. If everybody could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. Next up is approval of the agenda. We are going to remove or move new business item number 2, the first quarter financial reports, to a future meeting. And then we will remove item number 4, consider an appointment to the Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Commission, as they were not able to make it for the interview tonight. And with that, is there any other changes?
Nothing else. Thanks, Mayor.
With that, I'd look for a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been approved. Next up is reports of commissions. Economic Development Council. Nobody? All right. Youth Council. Anybody online for Youth Council? I see nobody. Arts Commission. Riley, welcome. Oh, okay. Welcome.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Paloma. I am the Vice Chair of the Arts Commission, and these are updates for the month of May. So I have been receiving lots of positive feedbacks on all of our completed box wraps. They are all done and up, presented, and making our city look beautiful. So those are completed. Next, we had a very successful Makers Market 2025. We had some karma sheets. These are some examples. We had great feedback from both youth and adult community, and it was received very well. And the weather was very nice this year. I remember last year it wasn't exactly on our side. So we had great attendance, great attitude. It was a lovely event. Next, we have new vacancies on the Arts Commission. With that, including vacancies on leadership, because sadly, we do have a couple of commissioners who will not be renewing their terms for the upcoming year, but we will be figuring that out as the time comes. Next, for Covington Days, I do not have enough details to reveal what our booth activity will be, but to this day, I am still receiving positive feedback and questions and notes on Naomi Dubin's art chalk from last year, and we do have.
I will speak on that. Yeah, so she's actually going to be doing the chalk art again for Covington Days. Unfortunately, there's a scheduling conflict, so she'll be installing the art the night before. But we're going to watch the weather really carefully and then go through with it, and the chalk art should be available for kids and adults to interact with. So we're all good on that.
I was not present at the last meeting, so that was a detail I did not have. Thank you, Riley. Yeah, so great. She seemed to have lots of positive feedback, so we're looking to have her next with us. And then I do not have Karma Collective updates as of now. Hopefully next month we will have something to be brought on board. And my final update is that the Youth Council has decided to pass down Art Crawl to us. They have asked us to step in and take control, and we have decided that it would be something that we're willing to do and able to do. So Youth Council has officially passed down Art Call to us.
Is that the student art show you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the student art show. Yeah. We just
And we're thinking about collaborating with other cities in
Mhm.
the future years.
The
To the
city,
microphone.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
so they can get on the recording. Sorry.
Sorry. Where our hope is that we can collaborate with other cities in future years and maybe make it a larger scale event. That adds an element of maybe judging or prizes involved. Because right now we've been doing an arts crawl, which is really fun, but the more competitive it is, the more you can kind of gather students' attention and have more interaction with it. So we're hoping to expand, but we have it tentatively on our January meeting for next year to communicate with the Kent team and see what we can accomplish for spring of 2026.
Thank you.
Sean.
Appreciate and happy to hear the chalk arts coming back. I thought that was really creative and innovative and engaging. One of the things I don't pretend to know how to do this, but it might be good to take pictures at a regular interval from the same spot, and you can turn it into a TikTok video that just shows the development of that that piece of art.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be pretty cool to
Thank you.
figure out, put a tripod somewhere and just have it.
Progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of neat to see the beginning and the end. So
Yeah, that would be a really awesome thing to post. Yeah. Thank you.
Are you done with,
I am done with my
Okay.
reports. Yes, questions.
now we can do questions.
Yes.
We were all jumping in and getting a little,
We were excited.
So are the students gonna help with the art crawl, like, or?
The same amount that they help right now is what they would help. So,
okay.
yeah,
Got it. Oh,
student engagement would remain the same.
okay, great.
Yeah. And that's all my updates. Any other
Anybody else?
questions?
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Have a great evening and thank you to the Arts Commission for all you do. Okay, thank you. Next, Equity, Cultural and Social Justice Commission, revenue report. Human Services, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, good evening, council members. Kaylee Stevens, Commissioner with the Human Services Commission. So last month we had a really good conversation with the Covington Library and talking about all they offer to the community and how we can get, they already have the brochure that the Human Services Commission has with all the different local resources available. They're already promoting that, and then just seeing all the other programs that the library is already promoting and where we could fill in gaps and where we could be a better partner with them, as well as a presentation from the Housing Connector, which is trying to break down barriers to housing and how we can, what their services they're providing and their different portals and the reduction in barriers for people to enter the housing market and for renting and all the services they offer. So it was a really good conversation and connecting with them. We also reworked part of our plan. This month, we are doing a meeting with the Lutheran Community Services, which is somebody who receives funding from the commission. So doing a check-in with them as well as getting presentation from them. We attended the Makers Market and it was very successful. We had a lot of really good community engagement. A lot of people that didn't know the Human Services Commission existed, and just seeing what our area as well as areas around us provide to residents and people of our city, as well as getting some feedback for areas they thought that the city was lacking in the Human Services Department. So we were just taking notes on that and just trying to get as much feedback so we can better support them. And then just going forward, we reviewed the end of service report for 2024, as well as the white paper, which was complete. It was a research paper seeing different gaps in human services that was completed by Central Washington University.
Great.
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Kaylee, thank you extremely very much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any reports from Parks and Recreation Commission? Planning Commission? All right. We do not have any public communication, so this moving into our first of two public comment periods. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council. Thank you, Joe. Not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants permission to speak, press unmute on Zoom and dial *6 to unmute by phone. Please note that campaigning for any ballot measure or candidate at City Hall or during council meetings, including public comments, is prohibited by state law RCW 42.17a.555. Seeing this, to speak, John Oliveris. Welcome.
Hello, John Alvarez, General Manager with Republic Services. I am not a resident of Covington, but Covington is on my mind 24/7, 365. Hey, just want to say on behalf of the 175 employees of Republic Services in South Seattle, we are honored and excited to continue the relationship with the city of Covington for the next 12 years. That's all. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have nobody else signed up to speak? Or Kaylee, did you want to speak also? Yes, Kaylee. Sorry.
Of course. Kaylee Stevens, I work with the Navy. This is not on their behalf. I am a resident of Covington, so I live on Southeast 258th Street, right where they're starting the sewer project for Lake Point Urban Development. And the information that was given to the residents, I was here when they presented to y'all about like, they're going to be going door to door. They're going to present all this information. And a lot of the stuff that they gave was very minimal. And in the span of like 8 hours, I left for work at 5 a.m. I came back at 5 p.m. and they had cleared probably about 80 to 100 trees that were like 60 feet to 100 feet tall, old trees. There was no information on the flyers that they handed out on how much they were clearing and how much space. So like, it is a lot wider than the residents on that street were led to believe. So we were told when we bought the house that Lake Point wasn't going to be taking down that barrier. So like the first big thing is it's displaced a lot of animals. So we have a lot of animals that we hadn't been seeing, like a lot more possums, a lot more deer running through. But the other thing is like the acoustic barrier from the development, where we had some trees and brambles to help quiet some of that. There's just no acoustic barrier for any of the construction going on. And as well as like the communication, I reached out to the sewer project because they didn't let us know, like there was no information online that I could find about the replanting or if there was going to be a path. So a lot of the information, they say they're updating their website, but like the residents on my street and I have been trying to find clear communication from the developers on how much more they're clearing, because originally there's going to be 100-foot buffer between the current residents and new development. Because they had in like the different diagrams that they had presented were very sparse and not well detailed. So originally there was supposed to be a 100-foot buffer between houses that are there and houses they're developing. Then it was changed to 50 and then it was 75. But then like the update on the website is old and the sewer people don't know the regular development. So there's just a lot of lack of communication or lack of ability to get the information for the residents and how much more they're clearing, because it is, I don't know if you've driven down that way, it is a very significant clearing, and it's left like the homes a lot more exposed to traffic in other areas, as well as just that barrier for the sound as they're continuing their development, as well as just the information is really hard to find for the residents to get how much more they're doing and how much more they're taking on. As well as within the first 2 days of them doing the project, they hit a gas main, as well as when they're done working, my husband and I are part of the random acts of cleanup, and we go around the area and they're chucking the spray paint bottles into the bushes and into the stormwater development area that has a sign that says like $2,000 fine for littering. And we're finding orange street spray paint bottles in there. So it's frustrating that we understand like it's a part of development and it's a part of growing as a city, but then they're not taking care of the place that they're developing, and that we're finding essentially what the Navy considers hazmat in the bushes that are clearly labeled for stormwater. So I just wanted to voice the concerns for the residents on my street, as well as my husband and myself.
Regan, can we check into that, please?
Absolutely.
Because we were told there was going to be a buffer,
Yeah,
and if it's the sewer company or if I mean, the construction company, or if it's the company that is doing the street marking for finding utilities.
Yeah.
On who that might be, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we definitely want to check into that because that's not what I would let to believe either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can send an email. I have before and after pictures of just how much they've cleared because it's pretty extensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you sent that into our community development team?
I didn't know what
Okay.
email to send it to. I can get
Okay.
with you after.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, I have nobody else signed up. Is there anybody online wishing to address council this evening? I don't see anybody online. With that, we will close our first public comment period. And we will move into approval of the consent agenda consisting of items C1 through C9. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor state aye.
Um,
Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. Next is new business item number 1, authorize the city manager to execute a comprehensive garbage, recyclables, and compostables collection services contract with Republic Services. I will be recusing myself and turning this over to Sean. And I will step out of the ring. Yep. Sean?
Yep. Okay, the mayor said, we're looking at new business item number 1, authorize the city manager to execute a comprehensive garbage, recyclable, and compostable collection service contract with Republic Services. And I believe, Don, you're online to take the lead on this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor
Yep.
Pro Tem Smith and council. I apologize, I'm a little under the weather, so I felt it best to be remote tonight. But we do have Jeanette Jurgensen here with Been There Consulting with a presentation, primarily focusing on the highlights of what the new contract will include. So with that, I'll pass it over to Jeanette.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Good evening, council. It's a pleasure to be back in front of you again to talk about the solid waste collection contract. As Don mentioned, my name is Jeanette Jurgensen. I'm from Been There Consulting, which merged with Epicenter Services, the company that you've been working with previously. And we'll give a quick update. So the purpose of tonight's presentation is to receive direction from council on the new solid waste collection contract with Republic. Just a reminder and a little bit of background for everyone. This contract outlines how garbage, recycling, and compostables are collected throughout the city for residents, multifamily, and commercial businesses. The current contract is set to expire on June 30th of 2026. Generally, these contracts are done at least a year in advance to allow time for equipment purchases. The city pursued an open competitive procurement process. We did an RFP process and received proposals from 3 companies. And updates were provided to council on March 11th and April 22nd of this year. So brief timeline, we started this process for this procurement about a year ago. We went through and developed all the documents with staff. We had a community survey, which helped develop the contract. We had an industry review to get feedback from the industry. We released the RFP, received our proposals. City staff did evaluations and selection, and we moved forward with finalizing the contract with Republic. So here we are tonight. And then just a refresher on the scoring, city staff looked at qualitative elements such as customer service and contract compliance. And then we also put a heavier weight on the quantitative, which was the rates. And so as you can see, Republic came in at the lowest rates of any of the proposers. And then they received the overall highest score. So to talk about the new contract, there's going to be a lot of the similarities in your current contract. We tried not to pull out anything. But a couple highlights that I want to mention is this slide is specifically for residential, so single family residents. We have an extra garbage collection. So once a year, people can call in and receive an extra collection if you're cleaning out your garage. We have a annual bulky item collection. So if you have a sofa or a refrigerator, you can call and get that picked up at no cost. There's an extra yard waste that you can call in and get every year at no additional cost. If somebody's moving in, because recycling is every other week, you can call in and get an on-call cardboard collection. So homes with a lot of cardboard. We have Christmas tree collection for both single family and multifamily. If there is a storm, there's an extra storm debris collection at the curb. And then we did work really hard on garbage and recycling recovery after inclement weather, specifically in snow. So we wrote the contract to allow some more variations and flexibility. And then lastly, there is a credit if customers are missed due to snow and or strike. So we have those written in there. Some other highlights of the contract, as I mentioned, we have the multifamily Christmas tree collection. There is annual visits to both multifamily and commercial sites to promote recycling, waste reduction, and composting. Tote bags will be given away for apartment residents, so they have a way to carry their recycling down to the containers. We've embedded all the gate and lock fees for businesses, so there's no additional charge for that. There are brand new collection vehicles, which are the renewable natural gas, electric support vehicles, and those are the ones driven by route managers and education staff. And then we worked on putting additional performance fees in case things don't go well. We have some power on our side, but I don't anticipate using all those. And one thing I also wanted to mention is with the new trucks that we talked about, that will require a reroute. What that means is instead of most people being serviced on Monday, it's going to be a spread across the days. So your collection day may change. And so that's part of the contract implementation, is to educate people on that. So a quick rate comparison. As we mentioned, when we started this process, rates were going up. It was really great to see that they are not going up as much as expected. So the residential 32-gallon cart customer can expect about a 13% increase. And this does not take into account the recycling processing charge. So that amount is even smaller for them. These rates are in 2025 dollars. In 2026, when the contract starts, there is a CPI escalator and a King County disposal escalator. So if somebody's watching this, this is not what you're going to be paying next year. But both rates, these are the most comparable ones we could show. The city receives an administrative fee on the garbage contract. Currently, we have a flat rate, which is about $8,900 a month. This has shifted to a percentage basis, so 3%. So the estimated administrative fee coming into the city will be about $13,000. This covers city's customer service for managing all things solid waste, the contract management, and it also pays for street overlays as the heavy trucks do damage neighborhood roads. Staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute the comprehensive garbage recycling and compostables collection services contract with Republic Services for July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2038. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Joe, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Just a couple quick ones that so we're saying the residential bill credits for multiple misses due to snow or labor disruptions. Is that if they miss 3 in a row? Is it if they miss just 1? How many misses does that take before we start seeing credits on our bills?
Certainly. So it's actually different for labor and for snow. So for labor, it's immediate.
Okay.
So for the snow, that one is going to be immediate as well. And on the credits, I want to make sure it's not your full bill.
Yeah.
So you're going to get extra garbage picked up. So it's on the service component and it's prorated. 2/3 would be for garbage, 1/3 for recycling. So
Okay.
kept as fair as possible.
Okay. And then, so you're saying that when this gets implemented next year, that there's a possibility of some collection days changing. How long after the new contract starts, would you foresee that occurring?
City staff will be working with the contractor on the implementation details. So whether that is implemented when the new contract starts, before the new contract starts, or after is up for discussion. But I know that usually city staff, if they hear feedback from the community, they utilize that in their negotiations.
Sounds good. It's just, I remember the last time we had to change, I got told it was a Thursday for my new collection, and I got a call Tuesday night, hey, you're getting picked up tomorrow on Wednesday. So I was like, okay, so, all right, just making sure that we all know and we can all get this information at the same time instead of waiting for that phone call the night before a possible new pickup day.
It should have a mailer ahead of time, as well as the auto dialer, and you should receive 2 of those.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Yeah, Beth?
Yeah, and just to clarify, those additional services like the oversized and the cardboard is already included in the rates. It's not something people will have to pay extra for, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Jennifer, do you have any questions online? Is that her hand up?
Yes, that is my
Okay,
hand.
yeah.
Thank you. I have 2 questions. One is, sharing these highlights of, extra cardboard collection, the annual fee item pickup. How will that be shared with residents so they know that it exists and how to take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Excellent question. There's an annual service mailer that's sent out, and part of that requires to promote all the free services within it. So every year when you get the mailer, it'll say, you can have these different collections. We also have the ability to utilize the city's promotional outlets. And then in the cases of, say, a store, and we have that extra collection, there's going to be the reliance on the city's promotion, as well as the hauler can do the auto dialer or text message, whatever people sign up for. So the cardboard collection is a hard one to promote because we have people moving in, but that should be promoted in their new welcome packets from Republic Services.
Is that something that maybe could be added to your app? So if people are kind of poking around in the app, they would find access to that information.
We can definitely bring that up with Republic to make sure that is in there.
Yeah, just to, and also to promote use of the app. It is.
Mhm.
And then my second question is, I believe it was mentioned that there would be a collection container audit to assess the current containers that are out and replace as necessary. Is that something that will be happening?
Yes, that is part of the contract implementation, is to sit down with Republic and go through all the elements of the new contract that we've discussed and put a timeline to that and make sure those things are complete. So they're going to do that audit. What are we looking for? Clarifying, do we need new labels on the containers or the current ones? So those are all the pieces of implementing this contract.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any other questions? Appreciate it. It's nice to see that and be reminded about the contract and what's in there. Dovetailing on Joe's question about the snow and strike credits, you said automatic. I just wanted to get clarity on that. Automatic as in the customer doesn't have to do anything in order to get that credit, or they have to request it and it's automatic that they'll get it.
The customer does not have to do anything. The city and Republic will work together to calculate based on the current rates what that looks like. And then that is applied to the next billing cycle. So I can't say whether that's 1, 2, or 3 months. So it'll apply to the next billing cycle. And then Republic will report back on the credits that they issued.
Okay, on their bill. You'll be able to read on your individual bill, or you'll report back to the city?
They'll report back to the city what credits, the total amount, and who received them.
Okay, all right. Just anticipating that some might call in to say my service didn't happen, and just how would they verify, I guess, that they got that credit? Would they call the city? Is that the list they get, or would Republic on the phone be able to say, oh, I see your account. Yes, you did get credited.
Republic should be able to answer that.
I also, you know, was happy to see about the bulky items and things like that. I'm assuming we'd have to get those to the street, correct?
That is correct.
Sorry,
They
Sean,
just
Sean, you're
pick
not
them
getting
up.
them to come in your house and
I
case
got
you a couch.
I got a flight of stairs that I could just stop them and say, hey, you guys, look, I read the contract. We gotta come upstairs. No, yeah.
I'm just gonna ask one more follow-up on that too, because is that something the customer then just requests as they need it? And then Republic would keep track of how many times they do that, so they'll use that benefit for the year type thing and, okay, so they can schedule it.
Anytime, and it happens every year. So every January you get a free one. So if you don't use that year, if you don't use it,
You don't use it, but yeah. Yeah, that's-
and then if you
Well,
call
then
in,
pay for the other ones, yeah.
yeah, if you call in a second time in a year, they'll say you've already used your free one. Here will be the rates. Would you like to
Okay.
proceed?
Okay. Yeah, go
The
ahead.
contract starts in July, so wouldn't it start in July? It's not January, or is it?
Oh,
is it
I'm sorry. I was giving an example.
contract?
Yes,
Oh,
the
okay,
first
just
year
making
you were
sure.
correct.
No, that's
The
fine.
first one is July through December. Then you'll have
Okay.
January through December for 11
Okay.
years.
Okay.
Then.
Better get on some bulky items, I guess.
You got kids moving out of
Yeah,
the
I was
house,
gonna
Sean, you're
say,
probably
man.
gonna have a few bulky items.
That's
They-
a teenager.
They tend to leave stuff, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you. Looking for a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a comprehensive garbage, recyclables and compostables collection services contract with Republic Services for July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2038 in substantial form as attached.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do I need to repeat all that again? No, it's been moved and seconded to execute that contract. Joe, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, I really do like how in this contract, we had a lot of things that we wanted and we were complaining about a couple years ago when we first thought about going for a new contract before we extended or authorized our last extension that we had, that these are things that we want. And these are things that we need to have because we felt that at certain points we were being taken advantage of, is what it felt like at a certain point. And that seeing these as someone who doesn't have a truck and can't go to the dump and haul away my large stuff, my large things that need to be thrown away, this is great. I like this. I like that I can have that one free one. So spring cleaning will be a lot easier. But I like that it feels like we were listened to. It feels like our residents told us what they wanted and we stated to Republic, we stated to Waste Management and to Recology, these are the things we wanted, and Republic gave us what we wanted the best. And I am very excited. Sounds weird to say excited about new garbage contract. As someone who used to serve on the garbage committee, MISWAC, I got really tired of talking about garbage, so I was really happy to stop talking about it. But now I'm excited for this new thing because it's going to be helpful for all of our residents, and it's going to give us new tools for us all. So I'm very appreciative, and I'm hoping that this goes off without a hitch.
Thank you, Joe. Christina?
I too appreciate the many hours that have gone in back and forth, and I agree. I feel like we were heard and our residents were heard, and I'm hoping, I was gonna say I'm excited too, but I'm hoping that our residents see the difference and have something good to say and positive remarks are made. But overall, thank you. And I'm glad we have the next 12 years that we don't have to worry about garbage.
Anyone else want to speak for or against the motion? Yeah, Beth?
I just want to reaffirm what's already been stated, but again, like it's been the last few years has been a work in progress, you know, from all sides. And again, having these extra perks that will help in times of need for folks, and being able to say that we definitely have something written if you have an interruption in service, which was really, really important to our residents. We can say that we have something now that we can enforce, and appreciate all the effort from everybody on this. It's been years in the making.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jennifer, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the city manager to execute a comprehensive garbage, recyclables, and compostables collections services contract with Republic Services for July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2038 in substantial form as attached. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back.
You. Keep it. John?
Yep.
All right. Moving on, we are postponing item 2 for a future date. And so that brings us to new business item number 3. Consider appointments to the youth council. Does council wish to take action tonight?
Yes, I move to appoint Mahi Dahia to fill position number 7 on the youth council with a term expiring upon graduation from high school.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to appoint Mahi to fill position 7 on the youth council with a term expiring upon graduation from high school. Beth, would you like to speak to your motion?
I would. Mahi had a great interview, and I think I can feel her passion about wanting to get youth involved and starting to build that community while people are in high school before they step into adulthood. Appreciated her advocating for her for youth in the community and wanting to bring people together and making sure there's something for everyone. I mean, I could go on, but I'll let the second.
Thank you, Beth. Joe, would you like to speak to your second?
Yeah, I think Mahi did a wonderful job explaining how she is really just about trying to get more youth involved.
Mhm.
She wants, like, one of my favorite questions we ask, so this is letting some of that secret sauce out, is we ask what would you like to see in Covington in the next 10 years? I always tell people, dream big, because you never know, it could happen. And she would like to see more kids, more 14 to 17-year-olds involved in the city, doing those things. And I know all of us up here would love to see that as well. And it starts with getting the youth involved now to build those blocks for those future 14 and 17 to 17-year-olds getting involved. And to me, that's a great thing, that she wants those other kids involved. Getting the city more youth friendly it's a bad term, but that's the way it really is we want more youth involved in our city. And to do that, we have to build those blocks with our youth now. And she wants to build those blocks up for us. So I am very excited for what she's going to do on our youth council.
Thank you, Joe. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? All right, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Mahi Dahia to position number 7 on the youth council with a term expiring upon graduation from high school. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Congratulations. We canceled item number 4, so we're moving on to new business item number 5. Consider appointment to the Arts Commission. Does council wish to take action tonight?
I move to appoint Megan McBride to fill position number 1 on the Arts Commission with a term expiring May 31st, 2028.
Second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to appoint Megan McBride. Joe, would you like to speak to your motion?
Megan has a passion for art. She wants to she thinks art's going to bring out the way I took the interview is she thinks art's going to bring out the best in everybody in our community. It's going to be the thing that drives people to their creativeness of using, but not just art as in what some of us think of in drawing or pictures, but in all forms of art. And I think she is very good at making that point across, because all I wanted to do was start to create art halfway through that interview. I also thought halfway through the interview, she was interviewing us and wanted to know
Yeah.
what we wanted so she can go out there and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to be a great addition to our art commission because she's got that passion for art and not just, you know, what we may think is art or what people on the arts commission may think is art, but what everyone in our community thinks is art. And it's going to drive that want for it in our community. Plus, I like her ideas of doing art pop-ups. I think my son would love that. So
That was a good idea.
Great, thank you, Joe. Beth, would you like to speak to your second? Or is it Chris? Who's? Beth?
Everything that Joe said, interviewing her was an experience. I mean, it was like a thrill. It was great. I was having a long day at work, but boy, I got energized just chatting with her. So I think some of the other things that she talked about that will be a great skill set is the her fundraising ability, and that can also lead into other areas for the art commissioner for the city projects. And, you know, she talked about how art is also therapeutic. So it's not just about creating something and it's pretty and it's fun, but it can also help heal people. And there's many different facets to what art can do in the community. I mean, she has an extensive history of teaching art and interacting and getting people involved with it. And I know she also talked about high school aged students as well. So I know that's something that we're trying to engage with that demographic. So looking forward to that.
Great, thank you, Beth. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? And it's been moved and seconded to appoint Megan McBride to fill position 1 on the Arts Commission with a term expiring May 31st, 2028. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. That concludes new business for this evening. Looking at future agenda, our next council meeting is Tuesday, June 10th. We will have interviews for youth council at 6, and then our council meeting at 7. And with that, we'll move into council staff comments. Chief.
I have nothing for you today, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Ethan.
I'm Aaron. Hi, council. Nothing from me tonight.
Great, thanks, Ethan. Don.
Nothing tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Don. Selena.
Good evening, council. Nothing from me tonight. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Selena. Mark.
There's no executive session and I have no additional report. Thank you.
Thank you. Regan.
Nothing from me.
Great. Thank you. Krista.
I have something, but I think you'll like it. As you all know, typically we cancel the second meeting in August each year. So I would like to ask for council consensus to cancel the August 26th meeting.
Okay. Is there consensus to cancel?
Fine with that.
All right.
Thumbs up.
All right.
Thank you.
Krista.
I'm hearing council.
Anything
consensus.
else?
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Christina.
I just want to say, it was an honor to represent Covington at the PSRC convention in Seattle. Saw a lot of familiar faces, and I'm kind of reminded why I should do this more often. But also, yes, it was my honor. And with that, enjoy the weather.
Thank you, Christina. Beth.
I'm sorry that I missed the Tri-City meeting last week. I would have loved to have been there, but a family first on this one. I think, there's a lot going on here. So I'm just going to say thank you for everybody's involvement in the community and all the things that we're doing right now.
Thanks, Beth. Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Got a couple things from the Regional Fire Authority. A couple weeks back, we had the wilderness or wildfire urban wildlands interface meeting. And so the RFA had presentations on their response to the LA fires and the resources we expended to help those communities down there respond to fires. They had some great slides, showed kind of the extent of their deployment, but they also talked about that the deployment was about 2 weeks, but they've learned some valuable lessons that they're bringing back here to our community as well, including holding that town hall meeting to kind of talk about with people what the potential risks are. They had a couple of maps that showed where the urban interface is related to Maple Valley, Covington, parts of Black Diamond, and the rest of their service area. What you can do to help make your house and property more fire resistant, and then provided resources, and websites for where you can get more information on these things. But it's my understanding the RFA plans to do more of these types of events because they recognize this is a threat and a risk that is only going to increase, not for the least of which, we're having more people move here, so that interface continues to grow. And then with changes in climate, we'll see additional changes in precipitation, things like that. So it's possible we'll see more risks for our communities. Yeah.
Sorry, just a quick question. We've all heard of those blankets that you just throw over an oil fire or something. Is that something the RFA would be interested in their in their community gatherings or presentations? Even sell, not necessarily give away, but
just resources that people in general.
Because if we talk about it and then it's right there, I would buy it.
Right.
It is crucial. I don't have one, but I need one probably.
Yeah,
I would love
no,
to have it.
that's a good,
Just an idea.
yeah, no, I can bring that up with them to say what type of resources and fire prevention materials would you recommend that communities have in place? And they do, I know our CERT training had a list of potential, go bags, those sorts of, part of it, what they would say is if it's a significant wildfire, you need to get out. But if it's a house fire or something like that, that what are the things you should have, fire extinguishers, those sorts of things. I'll ask them. That'd be good.
I'm assuming many fires start in the kitchen.
Yeah. So that was good. At the RFA meeting, they also mentioned that Andy Jenkins completed his emergency management certification training. So that means all of the emergency managers that are assigned to communities now have completed that training. So they feel like they're at a level of professionalism that they wanted to be. So now it'll be maintaining that and looking for opportunities to increase that training in emergency management. The chief mentioned earlier tonight that they held their teddy bear clinic. They consider that they had a great success. 500 people showed up. They gave away over 300 bears. And if you haven't seen what happens is they have those bears that I understand donated, and then the kids come in, they get them, and then there's a need for that bear. It needs to be, checked out, make sure its, lungs are working or whatever. So they go back and meet with one of the firefighters and they give them a clean bill of health and some information on fire safety, that sort of thing. So it's I think the RFA likes it. It's just a really feel good opportunity, but also as a way to contact a number of communities and families about fire safety and that sort of thing. So, and then the big news out of that meeting, I think you all saw, is both the chief and the deputy chief announced their retirement that evening, effective October 1st. And so the RFA began the process of hiring a new chief. And so at our next RFA meeting, we'll talk to HR about what that looks like, what the interview process will be. I think for all of us, if you have questions or issues or things you'd like me to bring up to make sure that that's part of the interview process, I'd be happy to do that. I also think it'd be good for us to think about the fact that we're going to see the top two leaders of the RFA change. And so they talked a lot about how they want to maintain consistency and capitalize on the momentum that the RFA has developed over the last 10, 15 years. But it's inevitable. You have two people leave in the top management, there's going to be some change. And so how would we like to engage in that? And what type of change potentially would we like to see? Because I think the new chief is going to have some latitude to make some changes here. So if you have ideas on that, let me know, but, so. That's it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
No comments tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Joe.
So 2 weeks ago, I got to be in charge of the weirdest PIC meeting I've ever been in. And I say this because for the first 30 minutes, we did not have a quorum, so we couldn't vote on anything. So we kept debating whether or not we should discuss the items that were up for vote or just hold them off until next month. And it was finally, and we just kept moving things, rearranging the agenda as we went. It would have driven Mark crazy sitting in on that meeting, listening to how I was having to conduct this meeting. I would have been getting told I was doing everything wrong. But we wound up getting quorum and we voted on the things we needed to. But there were some interesting discussions on there. We did have to appoint a new member to the RTC and a new alternate to the RTC because the person that that was suggested was already an alternate. So we would have had to appoint a new alternate. And there was talks about an imbalance between the South and the North on voting members in there. And there was talks about how this is not abnormal, but it was still people on the north end and the east side were kind of like, it's kind of weird for us. So it was just it felt like a long discussion, but it brought up some good points that we were listening to, and just one of those things that we had to kind of all be educated on, and it was good discussions for that. But in the end, I'm happy Chris Roberts will be back next month to take over chairing those meetings again for at least the rest of this year. And then we will see what happens for next year if I get to be the chair. And then I had RTC last week, and there was talks about the free youth fair. And every time they kept saying free youth, it did not sound like that. It sounded like they were saying fruth. And I was like, what is fruth? And that's what I get for trying to do the meeting on my phone. But did you know that, so up until you're 18, you can get a free Orca card, a free youth Orca card to ride Sound Transit or Metro. And if you turn 18 during your senior year, we can have the school district let them know that, hey, this person is still in school and they graduate on this day, and Metro will say that they can still have their free youth card as long as they're still in high school. And the King County is going to be doing more education and getting more information from schools, because last year they threw out a poll and got about 4 high schools. None of them were in the Kent school district, which I thought was kind of weird, but they're, being very, centric on our school district. I was like, oh, that's weird, but they, forgetting there's other cities serviced by Metro. But I did also mention that, hey, if we're going to be promoting these free youth Orca cards, we need to be promoting the ability for Metro to get to the places our youth need to, especially when we're talking about high schoolers who are taking Running Start, do not have a driver's license, do not have a car, and they need to find a way to get from Kentwood, Kent Lake, Kent Meridian, or wherever, get to Green River College or Highline College, and that there's no routes for that. So that was one of those big pushes I did. And then they talked about more service recovery as well. And we will probably be hearing more about service recovery every meeting, because that's a big thing King County Metro is talking to us about, is their service recovery from COVID. Other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Joe. I agree. The Troy City meeting is always great. I'm glad that we are moving it to the first quarter of the year, like we originally started it. So thank you for approving that. And then I also attended the wildland fire incident. Yeah. And so it was very well set up. I learned a lot, and I want to thank you, Sean, because you were instrumental in getting that you brought that up during the AWC District 13 to have that, and so
Thank you.
thank you for your part in having that come out, because it was very informative about everything that they do, and plus the new vehicles.
Yeah.
Pretty good. One of them would look really good. But with that, I have nothing else. We'll move into our second public comment period. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. With that, is there anybody in the audience wishing to address council this evening? And seeing nobody online, we do not have an executive session tonight. This meeting is adjourned at 7:56.